Welcome.
Hello.
Hello tonight.
Just me.
Have you been with us before?
First time.
Oh, you picked a great night.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
I get all worked up. Silly. It's a party.
Hello there. Welcome to the Nerdy Cantina, where we discuss all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Ryan of Anti-Quote Channel, and what you just saw is our brand new intro for this exciting program that we hope you are enjoying, whether you're watching or listening to it in the background. Our good friend Case put that together, who we will introduce to you in just a moment. But yes, I'm your host, Ryan of Anti-Quote Channel. We're going to be talking about all things Star Wars. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Star Wars, The Acolyte, which is currently streaming on Disney+. This is going to be spoiler-heavy discussion, so you've been warned. If you haven't seen the latest episode, take this video, put it in your watch later list, and come back and watch it after you've had a chance to see the latest episode of Star Wars, The Acolyte. Now, if you have any questions or comments about anything Star Wars related, drop it in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And do not forget to like and share this with everyone that you know. And if you're joining this live or on a replay, we thank you for being with us. So joining us is someone who's been away for a while, doing some training on unknown planet, or maybe it's Coruscant. I don't know. Could be one or the other. But please welcome her back, Christie, a.k.a. Hello, Snips. How are you?
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're very happy that you're back. It's been a while. And also joining us is one of your Jedi Masters. Jenn is back. Hello, Jenn. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you guys?
Doing well. And we're happy that you're here with us, Jenn. That's all that matters. So, sorry, I had to drop it in there somewhere. Also joining us is the man, the myth, the legend, the man behind the intro. This is the guy behind the guy behind the guy. Please welcome Dutch Star Wars guy. Case is in the building. How you doing, good sir?
Hello. Nice to see my intro play at the beginning there. I hope everyone liked it. It was fun to put together, and I'm looking forward to talk about The Acolyte with you guys.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to need a drink on this one, if not 5 more rounds. Oh, you picked a great night. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Also join us, someone who hasn't been on the show in a while. She's been busy doing some traveling and taking care of some things and whatnot. And she's got a bunch of great novels that are out and are available right now, too. So please welcome indie author Adina is back. Hello, Adina. Good to see you again. How are you?
Hi. So happy to be here.
Yes, we're very happy to have you with us. And certainly check out our books. We'll talk more about that later. Also join us is someone who's very good at studying for his tests, his exams, and studying for life and becoming an adult. Please welcome the host and producer of All-Star Fandom, and someone who likes to celebrate different fandoms, such as the new film of Beverly Hills Cop Axel F on Netflix. # not sponsor. Dion is back, y'all. What's up, Dion? Good to see you.
How's it going, Ryan? Hi, everybody. You know, Ryan, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So that's
Preach.
what I live by. There you
Preach that truth.
You gotta get off my pad, man. You gotta get off your
For the
pad.
record, Dion,
Yeah.
I am pad and pen too. I have my own right down here with notes and everything. I'm with you.
This is going to be way too much fun if it isn't already. But yeah, so we're going to dive right into this here, if you don't mind. And we're going to talk about the latest episode, more specifically of Star Wars The Acolyte. But I got to go to this individual first, because it's been a while since they've been here. I'm very curious. You've had all these weeks to figure out, or to experience the show thus far anyway, because it's not over yet. Adina, what were the positives, if any, that stood out to you during the course of this week's episode, or with the series that you've seen thus far overall?
So I guess it's a confession time. I have to admit how much I've seen of the series so far.
It's okay. Put all your cards on the table.
I've seen the first 2 episodes.
Wow. Then you probably shouldn't be here then, because you're going to get spoiled.
Okay. No, you know, my brain right now, I'm not going to store anything. So you guys can in detail, you can act out scenes, you could do everything. I probably tomorrow morning will wake up and not remember anything. So it's totally okay. But no, I really enjoyed what I've seen so far. And it's only just because I've been so busy. I've just been traveling, dealing with faulty appliances and just life but I got 2 episodes and I'm intrigued. I do want to see more.
Okay.
I think, unless you guys are like, this is the worst show ever, in which case.
No, you're going to enjoy the ride, in my opinion. It's a good ride.
Good.
according to the philosophy of Jen.
Opinions vary.
Yeah, things about these shows vary, but we'll get to that later. So appreciate you sharing that with us. Probably should have told me that a couple weeks ago before you signed up for the show, but it's all right. You're going to be spoiled. You're not going to remember a thing by tomorrow morning. So it's like one of those days where you just go out with friends and then you wake up the next morning, you're like, oh, what happened last night? Oh yeah, I don't remember. So it's going to be fine. It's one of those things called a mind wipe. It happens all the time in sci-fi novels and some other novels too. You know, there's some books out there. You may want to check them out. Written by Dina Mignona, no less. All right. Well, fair enough. We'll let you say partially attended class. Anyway. So how about you, Dion? You got 64,000 pages of notes, dude. A lot of things have happened. The lines have been crossed. Streams have been crossed. We're going to be crossing the streams hopefully next year at next year's Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia.
Sure.
So what are your positives that stood out for you in this week's episode, and how many pages of notes did it take?
Not much this week. I hate I missed last week.
Yeah,
that was a pretty action-packed show, and we were all waiting for that one.
A lot of death. Yeah, a lot of death.
But a lot of death, a lot of unaliving happening. But no, I like this. I like the new switch up. I like the new team switch up. I feel like there's a dynamic there that I didn't expect it to go in that direction, if that makes sense. I didn't expect it to flip and, the twins, switch sides essentially. And then just the idea of like describing the dark side, he said something to the point where it was like semantics. Have we lessened the dark side at any, like, I don't know. It just seemed like there's more to it than what we got in that episode. But no, I liked this episode a lot just because we got to see two different dynamics. Basil was in there again, so I'm always for that. I mean, I'm always here for that. But yeah, it was a lot of dialogue, obviously, but they're progressing the story, and I think next week's episode is the last episode, right?
No, we got two more.
We got two more. Oh, we got two more. Oh, God. Okay.
It's 8 episodes, my friend. It's an even 8.
Oh, perfect. Because all the talk about the power of 2 and then the other stuff like that.
The rule of 2. Yeah.
The rule of 2. Yeah, I want to know what's behind that. So it kept me intrigued enough to be like, okay, I'm ready to get these last 2 episodes to get a lot of answers, a lot of questions answered.
Fair enough.
No, overall, I liked it.
Oh,
and we saw the lightsaber whip too. Saw that. So
don't you mean the Indiana Jones?
saw that too. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, Indiana Jones did that, or was that Vanessa? Or no, that was Jen. That did it.
Yeah.
Sorry. She Willikers. By the way, Nerdy Entrepreneur, I believe that's Lauren. She says, "Hey, Luna," in the background of one of your cats. Takako's here. She says, "Hi, y'all. Takako, so good to see you again, superstar. Everything's well in your neck of the woods." Interesting. All right, cool, man. No worries. Not many notes there. It's fine.
Oh, you wanted more?
No. I thought I was gonna get I thought I was gonna get a 600-page dissertation from you in a college seminar somewhere, but apparently that's not happening anytime soon. We'll let Adina worry about that. But because she works with lots of people in rocket scientists and physicists and all that, they got all these papers and explanations about things. I don't know. I don't understand science. I don't understand it. Jen, what about you? Were there any positives that stood out to you other than the fact that you finally returned after a 4-week hiatus and you whipped out your lightsaber that actually turns into a whip, which I didn't think was real, honestly. People were talking about it on the interwebs. Oh my God, the whip lightsaber is going to appear. Like, come on, guys. It's in a book. Doesn't mean it's going to make an appearance in live action, but apparently it did. So well done, Jen. Congratulations.
There's no way that lightsaber whip could not appear in live action just because of what's written about in the books with her. It's one of her staples. I have a lot of positives about this show. There is a lot of detail in this episode, especially if you're really familiar with the Sith lore, some canon elements. They sprinkle really good canon elements in here. And then to Dion's comment about Chimere talking about the Sith, that whole dialogue is very interesting. And then with the dynamic you saw with how he was just gaslighting, manipulating Osha left and right, trying to figure out what buttons to push and what was really going to work on her. Because what I loved about this episode was how we got to see how the title really influenced the story in this one, which I believe was to teach and to corrupt, something like that. So you saw one side that was teaching and the other side that was corrupting. So there's a lot to really look into if you want to get nitty gritty in this episode. So lots really lots of good things. Lots of good things.
Well, that's the insider baseball that Dion and I have no flipping clue what you're talking about, but we appreciate it nonetheless. Like I said, Dion and I are more like the cool dudes. We're just the casual fans that we know some stuff. We know certain details, but we don't know everything like you people. So it's fine. We'll just sit in our little corner.
But it's definitely interesting adding on it though, because I've been meaning to ask Jen for book recommendations too. So I'll be in your DMs.
Oh, that's right.
After this,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep forgetting to do that. What do you call it? Spin-off segment of this show. Like, you know how our good friend LeVar only looks into the camera and he says, "There are a lot of great books out there, but you don't have to take my word for it." Dun-dun-dun. If you remember that segment from Reading Rainbow from back in the day,
Love Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, LeVar's a nice guy. If you ever get a chance to see him at a convention, go and say hi to him. He's a nice dude. I talked to him once for a couple of minutes. He was great. He saw my Reading Rainbow book too. So yeah, I know, Adina, you should have been there. You would have loved that. You would have loved that.
I met him on the Star Trek cruise for the first time this past year. So right up on my wall there is my selfie with him signing, and I got to tell him that I work in the aerospace, I'm an engineer in the aerospace industry because of watching Star Trek Next Generation and seeing engineers like him, and so it was a good moment. I was very happy.
That's a good nerdy moment right there, folks.
That's
everything. That's life, right? That's everything. That's the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas. That's the icing on the cake. That's just. Anyone hungry right now? I could go for some cake. Anyway, gotcha. So who was it? It was Jen. Thank you for sharing that with us. Do greatly appreciate it. And hey, you made an appearance and you whipped out your, Star Wars lightsaber that turns into a whip. Didn't see that one coming, but congrats. Indiana Jones would be very, very proud of you. So, Christy, I got to ask, because it's been a while. You've been gone for a bit, but also you posted some somewhat similar thoughts to yours truly thinks about this show. But I'm just curious. Any positives that stood out to you in this week's episode, Snips?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this show. I think it's all right. It's not my favorite thing ever, though. But the lightsaber whip for sure, because actually a few weeks, I don't know at this point, they posted one of those like 30-minute, 20-minute like little clips, and they had the lightsaber whip in it. So like Star Wars book community was like freaking out about it at that point. I was doing like a High Republic recap with some friends. So like we were all freaking out about it. So that was really cool to finally see. And finally they're doing a few like more obvious hints towards the book, which I was hoping for a few more, but I'm happy with the few. Like Vernesta's ship is named after like her Padawan that's in the book. So all those little details are so fun and cool. And then I did like the whole Sith talk. And one thing that I do appreciate about this show, as not a lot of Star Wars shows do this, is for once I feel like they're finally going to answer a lot of the questions we have instead of leaving them unanswered. Like I could see that coming in the next 2 episodes, which I like, because half the times we are left with too many questions. But I see us getting some answers, which would be nice.
I see. All right. Well, I'll get to my thoughts here momentarily, but I do want to acknowledge the people in the chat. Takako says, "I took notes, Jen. Laugh out loud." Yes, says Jen, because apparently she's everywhere. And Lauren says, "So much detail, including what Osha's hands look like versus May's hands." That's interesting. I didn't catch that, but all right, interesting. All right, Case, Dutch Star Wars guy. Any positives that stood out to you in this week's episode? What do you think?
My positives are the entire storyline on what I'd like to call Octo, because it completely looks like Octo, and it reminds me of Octo from the sequel trilogy. So that's what I'm going to call it until they give us a name for the planet, because all they show is that it's an unknown planet. But it very much looks like the island where Rey and Luke were training. So,
I thought the same thing, yeah.
Actually, I saw... Oh, sorry to cut you off. I saw an article from like a Legends planet that I don't remember the name of, but apparently it had like some like Sith lore behind it, and it's heavy with the Cortorsis metal, if I'm pronouncing that correct. And I don't know the name of this, but I saw a few people tweeting about it. But that planet was very pretty. Sorry to cut you off.
And there's Cortosis in one of the scenes, actually. So that's interesting.
But yeah, I thought it was very interesting already how last week's episode ended when Kimir finds Osha and he recognizes that as Osha and it's not May, and he's just like, well, it didn't work out with May. I'm going to try a different approach with Osha, because instead of covering him up completely, he gets naked completely and he's like, this is me, hello. That was fascinating to see, honestly. But
gaslighting manipulation technique.
He does completely open himself up and he's like, go ahead and kill me, knowing that she's never going to do that because she is very honorable. She is like a Jedi. She is never going to strike at an unarmed opponent. And then he starts manipulating her. He starts telling her things that are either twisted from the truth or a complete lie. But she believes it because she is very afraid of what she might lose. She is afraid of losing her friends, her family, and everything. And especially now that she only just learned that her sister is back, she is still very scared of losing anything that she has in her life. And he's even like, well, ship is over there. Just cross the ocean or the sea, and you can just escape on the ship. And she never does that. She's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's too dangerous. I'm not going to risk it. To the point where at the end she puts on the helmet, and we'll get into thoughts about the next episode in a little bit. But yeah, I was enthralled by that entire storyline. I really love that.
All right, I gotcha. By the way, Takako says Balda or something. Yeah, has Cortosis mines. What was that?
That's the planet.
Okay, right. Yes, has Cortosis mines. Was the place that Darth Plagueis killed Bruce Wayne or something. What is this? Plagueis killed Bruce. You killed Bruce Wayne. You can't kill Bruce Wayne. He doesn't die, I think. And then Takako says hubba hubba. Are you referring to the naked scene? Are you referring to the profanity and the nudity that's in this show?
By the way, Bruce is Plagueis' master.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they never
because
said anything.
It's a rule that a Sith apprentice kills the master and becomes the master.
Right.
Dude, that's effed up, man.
It's the Sith code. What am I going to do?
That's stupid. I don't like that.
Well, no, like if you look into Anakin and Palpatine's story, like Palpatine gets really happy every time Anakin tries to kill him. It's part of that narrative.
I love there's a moment, by the way, in one of the books, Lords of the Sith, where at one point Vader is thinking about killing Palpatine. Palpatine just turns to him, "Are you thinking of killing me?" And Vader's like, "Yes." Good. He fucking loves it.
Exactly.
You have to return the Jedi line on his behind. You know, I don't know.
Well, no, to the comment of that rule, the rule of two. One of the theories that's going around out there is that because my friend Lauren actually reminded me that this show is based off of storytelling from I believe it's a Chinese show. Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's always two villains. So you have one villain that you see throughout the show, and then there's another villain in the background hiding in the wings. So one of the theories is that with the scar on the back is significant to Kymir's story that he tried to take out his Sith master and failed. So now he's looking for an acolyte to train to overpower his Sith master, who was the other villain waiting in the wings, which fits into that narrative of the rule of, or the power of two, as he's teaching Osha about the dark side and the Sith and how all of the dark side works.
I hope they do something like that.
I thought your character Vernestra, the one that you play on TV, Jen, was the one that whipped him, because when I look at those scars, I'm thinking he got whipped by Vernestra.
No, that's one theory, just the way they set it up. And that's another thing I like about the show. They're purposely planting stuff to kind of throw you off. A lot of misleading little things in there. So, like, for example, with the show last week, where Nord and Osha were talking, and she mentions, like my mother does that, how your mother gets in the head. And one of the suspicions was it's either Kymir or Mother Coral. So I also like that in the writing myself, but that's the big theory that's going on right now, which fits into that Sith narrative.
That's risky. That can very easily backfire. Because
right.
There's like the leading down with the kind of the Chekhov's gun, which is good, but then you can, I don't know, it can be very risky. It's a fine line they're walking.
It's funny you bring that up. No, it certainly is. No, I thought because Kamir mentions in this episode he was once a Jedi. And then he gets seduced to the dark side because the good team didn't pay him enough money, so he signed up with a new agent and went evil. I don't know why. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
When I see the scars, I thought Vanestra whipped his keister because he tried to kill her or he wanted to leave the Jedi Order. And Vanestra says, no. You can't leave the Jedi Order because we own you.
Well,
No, I don't think
what
so.
I also found a bit odd is he says that he was part of the Jedi a very long time ago, like a very long time ago. And I'm like, dude, you're like 25.
Yeah, you're barely
26. You're very young.
Dude.
You
That's why I
don't
think
have that much
lying.
history in your life. There's absolutely no way that you're telling the truth right now.
He's probably
you are
barely even
either
30.
completely lying or twisting the truth in some way.
Yeah,
I
he's
know
like he just
people-
graduated
both. I
college.
completely agree with that. He's doing both because with the Jedi, because at this point in time, the Sith have not been seen for over 1,000 years or just about 1,000 years. So the Jedi are told about the Sith, but there's not like if you take Star Wars out of it, there's not a whole section in the history wing about Sith only. They're just going to gloss over it. It's like if we're sitting in a history class and depending on the course you're taking, there's certain sections you're just going to do a brief summary over, but then there's other sections, depending on the course, you're going to deep dive into. So the Sith are not really taught about to the younglings. So the younglings are not going to have a lot of that information. So this is why he's spinning the truth, but then lying at the same time, because the younglings are not really taught that.
And you know what I'm also confused about is that they I don't remember what episode it was, if it was last week or the week before, is that towards the end they played Kylo Ren's theme. So then that got people thinking like, oh, is this the first night of Ren? And then if you go back to what he says, he was like, they call me, like Jedi like to call me a Sith, but he never called himself one. So who knows? It could just be, he could be this whole Sith Lord, or maybe he's just dark side user. Lots of options.
He could be the first Knight of Ren. Maybe he's a descendant of the Knights, because the Rise of Skywalker takes place like billions of years later. So easily he could be a descendant or an ancestor or whatever, or he could be the one who plants the seeds for 5 or 6 dudes that get killed in 5 seconds. That could be the Knights of Ren. I don't know. Could be a possibility. By the way, Takako says, Komir striptease, don't tell my husband. Ha 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 ha. All right, yeah. Yeah, you can go ahead and watch that scene as much as you want. I'm not gonna touch that one with a 10-foot pole. But okay, so interesting thoughts, interesting theories. Once again, this is the Nerdy Cantina discussing all things Star Wars, specifically talking about the latest episode of The Acolyte. Spoiler heavy, by the way. Spoiler alert, people's clothes come off quite frequently. Anyway, don't forget to like and share this video with everyone you know, and if you're watching this live on the replay, thank you for being with us. So here's my positives. It's good. I'm happy that Soul figured out who was who and wasn't a complete dummy. And, you know, and Basil on the case. Why are you gibbering? You know, it's, by the way, can we see that shirt again? Can I see that shirt again? Where's your shirt? Hold on. Hold it up to the camera. Yeah. Basil of Baker Street was on the case, and he figured out who was deceiving who, and then Soul eventually himself figured it out, or Basil told him, whichever one. I'm glad that Soul figured it out as quick as he did, because if he didn't, and May got her knife and sliced and diced his throat or whatever, I would have thought, boy, this show has really gone downhill, because this Jedi is dumb if he doesn't know the difference between an Osha and a May. But anyway, happy that he figured out who was what. What was it? Who was it? Osha. So basically what I thought was, by the way, my really positives here are the scene where Soul figures out who's who. Then he starts to tell, what is it? May what actually happened, and then we're like, oh, we got cut off because it was a transmission. Doggone it, you cliffhanger. That bothered me. But I like that part, and I like that Basil survived, and I like that Basil Baker Street was on the case, sniffing out the leads, letting people know what was what. That was good. I like that. Let's see. I'm trying to think. What else? Yeah. Oh, and Vanessa Rowe has a whip. That just happens to be a lightsaber. I did not know that. That's new. That was cool, even though it was a split-second action scene. But other than that, yeah, that's where my positives end. But let's see. Let's flip the script a little bit here. Dion, any negatives that stood out?
I mean, just from going through the panel for the positives, it seemed like there was a little bit more of insider. Like insider baseball a little bit that I still had questions about. That I didn't fully like the whole dark side, the whole Sith thing. I didn't know that was the rule of that you have to take out your master. I didn't know that at all. That was a complete. That
Honestly,
came out of nowhere.
It's never really explained. It's never really explained in any of the shows or the movies. So
yeah,
if you don't go further than that, you don't.
I wouldn't have known.
But it's very, very established in Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay, but yeah, but other than that, like weaknesses is just. I think Case teed it up. It felt maybe like a filler, but there was a lot of other things that were there for like questions that hopefully we get answered in the next 2 episodes before we're done. That's about it. Like no weaknesses for this. I think it will just progress the story to the next episode. Like not too much action, not too much anything else, but just have a little tidbits there. And I started. It makes me. This might not be a weakness or positive, but I started thinking. We believe Soul, right? Like we believe everything he's saying, or has he told us like everything that's happened so far?
No, he has not told us anything.
See, so when they flipped the twins around, that got me more intrigued. So again, that's a new positive, Ryan. My bad. That's new positive for me. but
you're breaking the ranks here, man. No,
no, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, right? I felt like we talked about this 2 weeks ago. About like it was just an episode to get to the next one, but weaknesses none on my end, Ryan. I think I'm okay.
No notes. Okay, well you can save the rest of your notes.
That.
You can save the rest of your notes for what do you call it? Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Also, I have more questions, obviously, but it's just fine. Those answers are going to get. Hopefully those get answered in the next 2 episodes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We still got 2 episodes to go, so that's completely fair. Case, any negatives?
Well, essentially, Soul's decision to jump into hyperspace just before Vanessa gets there. That is a very weird choice for me, where I was just like, Vanessa just contacted you that she's on her way and she's about to come there, and then you decide to just jump away, running away from what happened, because the way that it then plays out, Vanessa is looking over the bodies and they see the lightsaber cuts. I am sorry about this. I don't know if you can hear it, but there are people in the city center. Anyway, so yeah, they see the lightsaber cuts, and that very much incriminates Soul because they have no idea that was a Sith, and all of a sudden it seems like Soul might have actually been the one to kill all of them, which would be very weird. And there's and there's something that Vanessa also says, like, it's a very harsh accusation. So that leads me to believe that Vanessa is actually on his side. We'll see about that, I suppose, in one of the next episodes. But yeah, there are a lot of unknowns based on this episode. And what I was saying last week is I still believe that we are going to get a flashback episode. I said that it was going... last week I said that it could be this one. It very much seems like it's going to be the next one.
I agree.
And then the last episode is going to wrap up everything in the present. And we'll see about that. But yeah, there are a lot of things that I'm very curious how it'll play out. But Soul jumping into hyperspace, I think, was not smart of him. And I hope that it plays out better than I think it is going. Because this might end very badly for Soul. And I like Soul. I don't want him to die. I don't want him to get thrown in jail or something. So, yeah.
No, you're right. Good points. Good points. What about you, Jen? Any negatives that stood out?
The only negative was I got annoyed with May when she factory reset Pip. I was like, dag nabbit, girl. I was like, don't do that. But to one of the comments that I see in the chat that hasn't been brought up yet, I don't think, is I think that's when just to comment on that, it's from Takago. I think when that happens is when Soul starts asking May specific questions as Osha, and it was the way she answered, and which was also giving context clues. And then with Basil in the background, with him putting 2 and 2 together, and then Basil being there, because you also have to remember Sol is still coming off a very traumatic moment from the previous episode where he lost everyone. He was the person who was in charge of the mission, so he's going through feelings of failure, feelings of loss, thinking at first that May and Kymir got away, but then discovering it's actually May and not Osha. So there's like a lot of emotions right now. And then I do agree with Case. It's not that I don't like it, but I thought that was very, very interesting that he would do that, where he's pulling away from his previous narrative that we've seen up until episode 5. So when he pulled away, I was like, oh wow, Rogue One is pulling away. He just became a rogue. Dang. So I'm just very intrigued right now. I do really believe that the next episode is gonna be a flashback, because there's so many more things we need unpacked, especially from May's perspective. So I have a feeling that's gonna happen. And then that's the only negative I have. I was angry that Pip got reset.
So yeah, that's the one thing I'm going to remember tomorrow is whatever happened to the fun AI robot.
You don't mess with Pip or Basil.
I know, right? Andrew Wordna says, smash the like button. Yes, please like and share this video with everyone that you know. We'd appreciate that. And thanks for the heads up there, Andrew. Nice profile picture, by the way, of a Death Star, even though it's been destroyed how many times? 30,000 times, because every time they build one, it always gets knocked out. So, yeah, nice try. Good always
knocked down, but ain't up again.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those ordeals there. But I dig the profile picture on your YouTube thumbnail or picture there anyway. Silly things about my notifications. Christy, any negatives that stood out to you?
It's kind of been touched on, but it's like at the point where the first few episodes of what happened actually with this fire, like it makes you intrigued. And I feel like at this point, it's kind of like, I know I am personally, a few people I talk to, it's kind of getting to the point where I'm like, this is a little too much. Like, can you just tell me already? Like, I feel like they're hinting at it too much without giving us any answers, which is also, I felt like if they did the flashback this episode instead of next week, like that would have been maybe a little better pacing wise. But one thing I am worried about I really do not want them to do a whole episode dedicated just to a flashback again, because I feel like there's so many issues in the present that they need the more time there. So I really hope it's not like a full flashback scene episode and then the last episode is a full present scene. I hope it's maybe like half of the episode next week. I just want those answers already. It's kind of getting to the point where instead of intrigued, I'm a little annoyed. But that's kind of my negative. And then I think my other negative is kind of something I felt throughout the whole show, but I'm just not really connecting to any of these characters. I feel like we're not spending enough time to know them. It's kind of just what's happening during the plot. And like May and Osha especially, it's like, I wish I really did like both of them more than I did, but I feel like nothing is really, we're not spending enough time with them, which is kind of annoying.
No, I can understand that. I just out of curiosity, I mean, let's see here. Yossi says you need to read more film theories. Read Laura Mulvey Gaze's theory, then you appreciate the whole show. Yeah, thanks, Yossi. I'm not going to do that. In the words of 2001: A Space Odyssey, I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. So, yeah, Adina knows what I'm talking about, but some of us may not, and that's okay. Don't worry, Chrissy. You're not missing much. It's not that good of a movie anyway. It's overhyped. But it's overrated. I'm sorry. It is. I saw it in the theater. Okay, I went to my local theater, saw it, watched 2.5 hours, and I'm like, "What the frack did I just watch? This is so boring to me."
A damn great movie.
I agree with Jay.
Not really.
No,
nope, all right. Jen and Case could live in their little corner there. It's fine. It's cool. But yeah, listen. Well, let me just out of any curiosity. Any negatives for you, Adina, that have stood out in these 2 episodes that you have seen? Because I'm about to dive into a lot of spoilers here in a second. But is there anything that stood out to you?
That's fine. It's so funny because it's almost like the most shallowest negative ever. But this was something that kept taking me out. Again, overall, I'm intrigued. I do want to watch more. I do want to catch up. But Soul. every time I heard his name, to me it kept sounding like Saw from Rogue One, Saw Gerrera, and that just would jar me out. It's just, to me, hearing those two sounds, just like, and I love Rogue One so much that Saw is a character in my head. So I just kept getting pulled out every time his name was spoken. So that was a little bit of it's the weirdest, most shallow negative, but that was a negative for me. And the fact that by the end of episode 2, it is unclear what May's motivation is.
Oh yeah.
That was the one
Believe me,
piece.
We're at episode 6 and it's still unclear.
You see, that's my other issue with
This is-
May. Every other episode and like every episode, even she's like
She
switching
switches-
personality.
She's changing her
going
mind
from
every
my
2.5
sister-
milliseconds,
Hmm.
and it's very
That's why I'm
bland,
very
by the way.
confused.
I disagree with
Okay.
that. From what we
It's
said last,
bland, very bland.
I disagree with that. What we said last week, with what happens in 5, not to spoil it too much for you, Adina. It's
Okay.
very action packed. Adrenaline's going high for everyone. You have to think on your feet, and if you were a person in that situation, the one thing you're going to do is figure out how do I get out of here alive. So you're going to do some things to get yourself out of a really bad situation that keeps you alive, so you don't get killed. That's how I view it.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
think
when I
she's
catch up, we'll
bland.
see who I agree or disagree. Because
Come to the dark side with Christie and I. We have cookies.
Well, you see,
No,
I
that's
got
a lie. I went to Galaxy's Edge. There's not a single cookie
No cookie.
anywhere.
Yeah, but
No.
here's the thing.
Come
Here's the
to the
here's
Rebel base. We have blue
No.
milk on the
No.
tap.
no, you
On
don't.
the freaking tap.
It's funny. It's
Actually,
funny.
the
Jen-
blue milk is on the dark side part of Galaxy
Christy,
Edge.
you're not helping.
Well,
It is.
but here's the thing. It's funny you mention that because Jen, you did a taste test of the 2 packs of cookies that you got that were Oreo sponsored, and they were either red or blue. And apparently, you got 2 packages of dark side cookies.
They're
So-
Oreos with red cream. That doesn't.
Yeah,
mean-
because you're a dark sider. That's what
No,
you
I'm
are.
not.
That's just it.
Oh
that's a
no.
lie. I'm not. Nope.
That's what happens,
Right.
Adina. She flipped the coin,
Okay.
and she ends up getting 2 packs of red creamed Oreos that are dark side cookies.
And
Which were very
the
delicious,
one other thing I will say that there's one other negative before we get off the negatives
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
based on the trailer, based on the trailers before the show ever came out. I really thought that Carrie Ann Moss's character was going to be like the focal point.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
like-
no.
Yep.
The trailer
Yep.
made that scene that, and I was kind of expecting her to be the main character,
Yeah.
and to not get that. Again,
Mhm.
none of these things are going to take away from like me watching the rest, but these are all, since you asked for negatives, these are my shallow negatives.
But if I may for just a moment, I very much get the feeling that when they wrote the show, all 8 episodes, they were like, okay, and this happens then, and that happens then, and that happens then. And then they figured out, oh, wait, so all of the review is going to be at the very end, and we're going to ask people to stick around until the end because we're not going to give them much in the first couple of episodes. And to me, I see enough in the first couple of episodes to keep me invested to stick it out until the end. But I see now, based on this panel and also online, people are not willing to wait around to the very end if the first couple of episodes don't grip you enough.
They have to,
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
for me, the first couple of episodes grip me enough to stick around and to be like, okay, if there's a bit of a weaker episode or a bit of a weaker storyline or something not really explained, I'm like, I'm sure it's going to happen in the next episode or the next or something. But I can definitely understand why it's an issue for people to wait for such a long time, especially if you have to wait week by week to just get one more episode. And one more episode is only going to answer an X amount of questions and not everything, because they still want to keep the intrigue going until the very end. So for some of the stuff, you really have to wait until the very final episode. And that is a big ask of people, honestly.
It is. And again, I think there's a pattern of the Star Wars franchise doing this ever since The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And they're relying on just the fact of the franchise and the fact of fans of the franchise to get them through, which I don't think is it's not great. and I remember, when Mandalorian season 1 came out, a few episodes in, I think episode 5 or 6, I completely lost it and I stopped watching it. And it wasn't until a year later, a good friend of mine was like, "Oh, Adina, go back, just get through another episode or two and it'll be worth it." And in that case, he was right. Again, I did, and he was right. But if it wasn't for someone who I know our opinions on stuff align, so if he's telling me that I'll enjoy it eventually, like, if it wasn't for that, I never would have gone back. And again, I worry that this is this is not a good pattern. Individual episodes should grip you and keep you wanting the next one and the next one. And so again, I'm only at 2 here, and I'm intrigued, but I could watch 3 or 4 and completely fall off this.
Oh, it's funny you say that. No, it's funny you say that. So here's the deal. For negatives for this week's episode, because I want to do my best to focus on this week. So, and I'll be honest with you, Adina, Christy and I are kind of on the same wavelength. I think the first 2 episodes are great, and then after that, it just slowly goes off the rails and completely loses me, because you kill off Trinity in the first episode. That ticked me off. And then in episode 5, I'm going to give this away. I'm sorry. But you kill off everyone else in the show. You kill off Yord. You kill off Jecki, who's played by X-23 herself, Daphne freaking Keane. All right? One of the brightest young starlets in Hollywood right now. And you kill her off in episode 5. One of the heaviest marketed characters in this show. The trailer made it seem like Trinity was going to be one of the focal points, but then, Daphne Keane and the rest of them were going to be very integral parts of the story. And they just become red shirts. Sorry, that's a Star Trek term. I'm sorry. But they're all red shirts. They're all red shirts. They're all going to die.
You know what
Everyone's
my mom
gonna
says
die.
about this show? My
I'm
mom
sorry?
is like, every time my mom watches this show, she always she goes like, "This is reminding me more of like Star Trek than Star Wars."
Everybody dies.
To her.
Because
And I'm
everybody
like,
dies.
You see, I expect everyone to die. I'm fully expecting
I
Master
did.
Soul to be gone by the last episode. Because of that, because of kind of what they, like how in the Clone Wars, Anakin couldn't meet Grievous because Grievous and Anakin met for the first time in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand why they killed everyone off. It was shocking when I watched it, but I kind of understand why.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing that is keeping me on my toes with this show is I'm really excited and intrigued to see what they're going to do with Soul, because he is the only one that has survived off this planet other than May and Osha. So I wonder what they're going to do with him. I'm very excited to see, like, that's keeping me very intrigued.
Well, and what I'm hearing too is that I think there is possibility with what I'm hearing in the rumor mill and what I'm seeing in interviews as I'm following along the writer and directors and some of the actors on the press tour right now. I think season 2 is already greenlit.
Oh no!
From what I'm hearing, yes. So some of my suspicions tied into what I said last week. We don't have all the information yet, and if that's the case, if everything's greenlit, then I'm going to assume, which I know is dangerous to do, that depending where they're taking the story and how it's going to end in season 1, how that ties into season 2, because what I find interesting is how we're starting to focus on more of Sith lore and how the Siths work in Star Wars just a bit more than touching on it here, touching on it there, touching on it here. We're seeing a little bit more of that. And because there's one theory out there that each season will be focused on a different acolyte to take down the Sith Lord, which I find to be very interesting. And I think that's going to be really cool to see personally.
Yeah, I wish I didn't hear that the green lighting season. That's not smart. I
disagree.
So here's the thing.
I don't think it's that
it's not good. You should not say that when the show's not even done yet. You should not say that.
Well, no, it's not officially announced. It's being hinted at, but I'm excited for it nonetheless.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if next week they're going to say, "Hey, guess what, guys? Leading into the season finale, we're being greenlit for season 2." So yeah, just wait until season 2 drops, and you can binge watch all 2 seasons. But yeah, that's poor marketing. Very poor marketing.
If you look at the last couple of years of Star Wars television, every single time they have been very reactionary to if they're able to continue with the show or not based on reviews. Because the shows that have been good have been greenlit for season 2. Actually, to be fair, every single show I think got a season 2, including Star Wars Resistance. And Star Wars Resistance was probably the worst reviewed one. and they had to abandon that show because it was canceled. They had a season 2, but it wasn't reviewed well, so they had to cancel that show, even though I didn't think it was that bad, but no one watched it. And the same is probably going to happen with The Acolyte. They're probably going to make a season 2 for a whole lot of money, and no one's going to watch it because everyone is hating on the show for no good reason, in my opinion. And, I mean, it kind of sucks, and they're going to lose a lot of money over this show, but it's going to happen simply because there's so much pushback already. And there's no salvaging this. Like, it doesn't matter how good the last 2 episodes are. There will not be a season 3 of the show because there's too much pushback, I think.
I mean, look, I don't speak for everybody, but I can only speak for myself. And Christy, it sounds like you and I are somewhat on the same chord here. Maybe. As soon as episode 5,
I hate it as much as you do. I still like it.
No. It's fine.
It's just not my favorite.
But we are in somewhat similar camps. What I'm saying is that episode 5 is the one that ruined it all for me. It ruined everything. Like May changing or flipping the script, and then Jackie getting killed. I'm like, come on, man. Like, really? If this show was going to be a Game of Thrones type thing, you should have told me that in the beginning so I wouldn't get attached to any of these flipping characters. I only have 2 minutes of screen time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. My negatives are Quamir is seducing Osha to the dark side. Osha's starting to fall in love with Quamir. There's going to be a good girl, bad boy, lovey-dovey relationship. They're going to get their freak on in that water where Quamir strips his clothes off. Osha's going to turn dark. She's going to go back to her sister and say, "Hey, I'm sorry I messed up and I worked with the Jedi for all those years. I'm going to be your ally now. We're going to be teaming up with Team Darkseid. We're going to ruin everybody's lives, and we're going to kill a lot of innocent people." So that's where I think the show is going. And by the way, if this show is strictly just going to focus on Sith people and nothing in between, then you've lost me, because I don't want to see a movie or a series strictly about villains, because I don't want to root for the villain. That's the point. You need heroes and villains.
How many Jedi have we seen in the show, and how many Sith have we seen in the show? Don't answer that, because it's a ton and one.
But I'm just saying, like, if this is the way they're leaning
there
towards
are a shit ton of Jedi, and there's one Sith.
Yes, but if they lean towards more Sith-like stories, I mean, that's fine for a certain group of people.
That's not going to happen.
No, I think it might.
No, it's not. I mean, there's a balance to it. Even when you look at all of the books that have been written, they'll do books focused on the character, but then there's usually balance with other characters. If there's more than character, you're always going to see Jedi and Sith because those are their natural.
And I actually appreciate the fact that we have a very different kind of Sith than we've ever seen before in Star Wars. We have never seen someone like Quamir. He is I find him so far extremely human and relatable. In contrast to Darth Maul, who in episode 1 has nothing else besides "I want to kill Jedi." That's his main thing. He hardly says any line whatsoever. He just fights the Jedi at the end and then supposedly dies. And then he gets resurrected in the TV show, but that's a different thing. I find Quamir actually a very fascinating character, and I want to learn a lot more about him. Might be just me.
He didn't skip Arm Day. We all know that. He didn't skip it, Adina. He didn't skip it. You'll find out when you see episode 6, if you get that far. So, yeah, no. For me, the negatives were, it's just like, okay, the guy's trying to seduce the girl to the dark side. She's probably going to be seduced anyway. And then when she puts on the helmet at the end and starts breathing like Vader, even though it's a Vader homage, if you will.
There's also a canon significance to that, too, actually.
I don't understand that, but we'll get to that in a second. So when she puts on the helmet and starts breathing like old school Vader, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, you're clearly going dark. There's no way you're going to be salvaged from this. You're going to turn dark. You're going to kill everybody. You're probably going to end up killing Soul in the last episode, which, hey, he probably lied to you a little bit, but does he deserve to die for that? Not necessarily. But you're going to kill him off anyway, because everyone in the show, to me, is...
Ryan, we don't know yet what Soul did.
That's where I'm at.
We're getting there.
That story, which we're going to probably get this
We're getting there. But... yeah, no, my negatives are I just didn't really care much for this. To me, this felt like a complete filler. Didn't really move the bar. Didn't really move the compass. Barely any degrees. Basil shows up. That's great. Soul figuring out who's who. That's good. Other than that, didn't really do anything for me. And Adina, this is the honest truth. To me, this is one of those situations, just for me. This is one of those situations where the trailer is better than the final product. But then again, We got 2 episodes left. I'm going to watch them. I'm going to see what happens, like everyone else. All right? But I'm just telling you, the trailer is better than the flippin' series, in my opinion. But that's just, excuse me.
I just
That's
don't like how misleading this trailer is. It was very misleading.
Incredibly. So, and no one told me that this was going to be a Game of Thrones like show. So thanks, Hollywood. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. But yeah, Christy, what do you hope to see in the last 2 episodes of this series? Or if they're going to announce next week that, hey guys, we're getting a season 2. What do you hope to see in season 2?
I know we were talking about it earlier, but I hope to see that connection to that bigger Sith Lord or Knights of whatever way they're going. I want to see how Khmer is related to the bigger picture of the dark side. And I also want to see the more big connection between the because I know before this came out, it was this is 100 years before the Phantom Menace. You're going to see what really led to not the fall of the Jedi, but the fall of the Jedi and how the rise of the Sith. I really hope we get more of that. I want more of that. Maybe if there was another season, I know people are saying that it might relate a little more to what's going on in the Phantom Menace. And then I also, this is just a very personal nitpicky thing. I want a big name drop of something from the books. That would make me freak out.
Yes.
I want it.
Yes. Please.
Not something little. Give me a full on just name drop or something.
Put it on a billboard, or why don't you? Like Adina's book. Put them on a billboard.
I want it.
Well, it could happen. You never know. Adina, I know you're only 2 episodes in, and we've given away pretty much every single spoiler for the last five episodes. But just out of curiosity, if you're going to stick on this ride, what do you hope to see moving forward?
Well, I just want to now. I'm just really curious to see if I can get through, or if I'm after another episode or 2, or get to episode 5 and be So I'm more curious just to see my hearing now 2 very different sides. I'm just very curious to see which way I go.
Okay, curiosity. All right, well, curiosity may or may not have killed a cat. Not Jen's cats; they're immortal. But it worked for Curious George. He was curious for 100 years. He's fine. He's still living somewhere with the man with the yellow hat. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself because those books are childhood favorites of mine. Maybe they're childhood favorites of somebody else in this room. I don't know. Dion, what do you hope to see moving forward now that we got 2 episodes left? Or we may have 50 episodes left if they greenlight season 2.
See, I honestly, I've enjoyed the series. It's been a different sort of a off the beaten path of what Star Wars has usually been. So I was okay, I'm up for that. Obviously, a lot of things that are left to be answered. Christy wants deep cuts from the book or just big name drops. I'm going to be so confused if that happens. But other than that, I'm up for the. So I'm definitely up for it.
Confuse you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Little,
well, maybe they'll mention Darth Plagueis the Wise. I don't know.
But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's more that's to Saul that we're not getting. And then I do like the flip of the twins, so I'm seeing where that happens. If they just completely switch personalities after this, that's going to be kind of wild. Or team up might happen. I don't know. So just those possibilities of what those next 2 episodes might be. And if we do get a season 2, I'm sure that I'm not sure if that last episode will end in a cliffhanger thing. I kind of don't want it. I want all my answers, all my questions answered right then and there. Just the society we live in now. So, but no, I'm definitely looking forward to the next 2 episodes. So I got high hopes that it can finish strong.
Is it high hopes or a new hope? No, I'm kidding. Zinger. All right. There you go, Adina. Bazinga. Case, what do you hope to see for the rest of season 1 and season 2 and 3 and 4, since they're probably going to greenlight it next week?
In the remaining 2 episodes, I already said I very much get the feeling that the next episode is going to be a full-on flashback episode, or at least it is going to show us finally the side that we don't know yet, Saul's version of the story, because this episode ends with May tied up on a bed with Saul being okay, this is what happened, and he's going to just spill the beans of what happened in his view, and then May is probably going to share her view as well. And at the same time, we see Osha putting on the helmet, and that helmet has some kind of ability for the Force to really focus her senses, and that's how Osha is probably also going to connect to the Force in a way that she can see what happened, and hopefully that will give us the answers that we've been waiting for. Because I've been waiting for these answers since episode 3, because episode 3 showed us an entire flashback and showed us nothing at the same time. Where I'm like, there are so many questions that I have still, despite the fact that we saw everything. And I really need to see that, because I do very much think, based on how it all plays out, that we are going to be talking very differently next week about, like, oh, this is how it played out, and this actually explains everything. And maybe, Ryan, you will be swayed by that. At least I hope so. And maybe by the end of season 1, we'll all go like, oh, that's how it all comes together. Okay, cool. I really hope we can get to that point, and that more people will get on board, that we're like, okay, now we see the final picture, because we're not there yet, not even close. And episode 7 and 8 have a lot to do. And I really hope it's not going to be like Ahsoka episode 7 and 8, because I adore the Ahsoka show. But every single time that I get to the end of that season, I feel there are so many loose ends that I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? I don't want that again. So please, Acolyte, like, I understand that you want to keep intrigue for season 2, because it is going to happen, but don't leave us hanging. Don't leave us with too much unanswered, because otherwise I might just join you, Ryan, with like, okay, this show just fell off. But we'll see about that.
Good.
I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be hopeful that it's all going to be resolved, okay?
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. Anyway.
Something.
How about this? I'll drop this one on you. Less talky, more fighty. Anyway. Jen, because you know you love Lego specials, Jen. Jen, what do you hope to see in the last 2 episodes, if not season 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6?
Definitely the flashback scene that we need. I do agree with Case. I believe that's coming up. We're going to get a lot of questions answered. I'm excited to see how the series is going to wrap together. I have complete confidence in the show. I have enjoyed the ride all the way through so far. I have not been disappointed. I will say, to what I said a moment ago real quick. So with Sith, they go around and collect artifacts. And one of the things they do, similar to what Voldemort does in Harry Potter, they imprint some of themselves on these artifacts. This is actually coming from canon, where I believe Chimere has imprinted some of himself onto this helmet with the dark side. So the fact that Osha put on that helmet, some of his essence is going to transfer into her, which will not completely seduce her, but cause her more to lean toward the dark side, and then have that more of internal struggle between her. Because the other thing we don't know is, why does she leave the Jedi Order? And Endara actually supported that decision, which leads to, well, what happened on the planet, to the fact that you have Endara agreeing with Osha to leave, and the only one who remained in the Order, Sol, is the only one there, where everyone else spread out. Endara is in a bar in the Outer Rim. Kilinaka is on Kofar, in another planet in the Outer Rim. And you have this Jedi who kills himself without hesitation, willingly, on another planet in the Outer Rim, where he basically takes the Jedi Order's version of the Vow of Silence. So it's just like, what the frick happened? So I am very, very excited to see what's going to come next week. And I'm hoping that we might get the second villain in the wings reveal by the end of episode 8, who's really the puppet master of all this. So that's what I want to see. So another big name drop to what Christie said, and I hope it's from the books.
Yeah. What is it? Osha being seduced to the dark side. She's basically going to become Chimere's Harley Quinn. He's Joker. She's Harley Quinn. And then when they meet up, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then what else is going to happen is that the guy who's really the puppet master is going to be Deathstroke, or it's going to be Lex Luthor. It's going to be like, I'm the one in charge. You know,
Chimere's dying. He's not making it.
You think Chimere is going to be a red shirt and die?
Oh yeah, he ain't going to make it.
Really?
He's so unhinged. When you look at the episode with him with May, the way he is, and how every time he like tries to hold himself together, it's like he's struggling because he's getting so frustrated with her. But then when he's with Osha, because the reason why he takes Osha, in my opinion, is because she attempt to kill him without a weapon. She put her droid on the back to get him taken up by these things to kill him. So that's like, oh, that's my new apprentice. She did what I was trying to get May to do. Mm-hmm. So, this guy's not gonna make it. I cannot see him making it. Nope.
So he's just like, did you try to kill me? Yes. Good.
Dead. Someone's gonna chop his head off, chop his face off. Someone's gonna tear his body in half, like they do in video games or something like that. I don't know. Who knows, Adina? Maybe Kumir is gonna be the red shirt. Maybe it'll be an even bigger misdirect. I don't know. It very well could be, but hey, at least Star Trek TNG answers the questions, for their seasons and characters. Sorry, I keep making references to another fandom that's not supposed to be talked about on the show, but they do have some similarities. Let's be honest here. They do somewhat. I'm just a Picard fan because Patrick Stewart's the man. But anyway.
They both occur in space.
Yeah, they're in outer space where things happen.
They're in different parts of the galaxy.
Exactly. Yeah. Apart. Riker and Riker and
far apart in space, far apart in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that too.
It could be. Who knows? By the way, Takako says, I think this is the first time we've seen different shades of Jedi and Sith on the actual screen, like 50 Shades of Jedi and Sith, because that's creepy. Takako, what's that?
Yikes.
Yeah, it is. That's 50 Shades of Crazy. Takako says, let's face it, Star Wars has always tended to frame the story as black and white. While I don't know exactly where we're going with this story, I think it's refreshing to see the finer nuances of light versus dark.
I agree.
And Takako was giving me the cross eye. I don't know why. Thanks, Takako.
Because you mentioned Star Trek and Star Wars the way you did.
Yeah, they cross the streams, Adina. Sometimes it just tends to happen. I don't know. Does it happen?
They're both in space.
They're both in space, guys.
That's it.
It's true. They're both in space. That's all that matters. What I hope to see is resolution. Hope to see some innocent people don't die because everyone else who's innocent has been killed off. Especially my girl Jackie, also known as X-23, also known as Daphne Keene, one of the brighter young stars of Hollywood. Here's the deal. I feel like, and this is what I'm trying to relate to Adina here. Adina, this is how I feel. You take a great bunch of actors, but the writing, your story is only as good as your writing. And for me, the writing, they chose poorly. So, that's just me. But who knows? Maybe the 2 episodes will flip everything on its head. I'll come back to this thing and be like, yo, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Probably not, because right now I'm streaming Cobra Kai, and Cobra Kai is the best thing since sliced bread. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Sweep the leg, all right? Cobra Kai is freaking awesome.
To me, that shows the writing is good because you care so much about these characters. You got really invested. So mission accomplished, in my opinion.
Fair enough. But yeah, hope to see resolution. Some innocent people are saved, and we don't just make them all about to be like red shirts on that other series that we don't talk about on the show, but we tend to mention it anyway. So don't kill everybody, all right? But if you are going to kill someone, do kill off Chimere because he's a jerk. He's a punk, all right?
No, he's great.
No, he's horrible. He killed Jackie. You don't do that. You don't mess with Daphne Keene. She's extra.
That really hurt you, did it, right?
Excited to die. Just come out in interview. She was so happy to do that, and she was glad that the writer took that risk.
I feel you have some PTSD
She's happy.
after that.
Listen, Jen and I have spoken behind closed doors about this, and I respect Daphne Keene's thoughts and feelings and opinions as much as the next person because she's great and she's one of the bigger talent. She's one of the more brighter talents in Hollywood. But still, someone should have said this is going to be Game of Thrones anyway, because everyone's going to die in the end. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So we'll see what happens. We got 2 episodes left, a lot of questions left unanswered. Dina's got 6 more episodes to drop in her lap and see what the heck happens. And then she's going to come back here and she's either going to say, Ryan, you were right. Good. Or, she's going to join over with Jen and Case and live happily ever after. It's fine. It's cool. Adina, if you come over to our side, we got cookies. And they include Oreos, too, with Jedi or Sith cream in the middle. Your choice. If anyone's an Oreos fan. Anyone else like Oreos?
If there's ice cream in between those cookies, then I'm...
Sure.
That's what's going to win me over.
You like ice cream? All right, listen.
I
Everyone
like
else,
ice cream sandwiches with cookies, where you take a cookie and take a
Mhm.
cookie and a big blob of ice cream and smush.
Does anyone else do that? Or is Adina the only one on stage who does that? I don't know. Fabulous stuff. Is anyone else getting hungry? By the way, Adina also has Prodigy to watch, I assume.
I do. I'm so behind on so many things because I'm in the middle of catching up on For All Mankind. For All Mankind is amazing, most amazing show ever. You have to watch that. And then I got lost in not science fiction, but The Good Place.
Oh yeah,
the comedy with Ted Danson.
So you're,
and,
Ted
so you're watching
Danson,
the show.
Oh
you're
my
watching
gosh.
the show with Kim here in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in that.
Oh, he is in that show?
Yeah, he's in that.
Get out of
That's
here.
right. That's right. No, I happened to when I was flying home like a week ago, I just happened to catch an episode of Conan and Brian Needs a Friend, the podcast. Like I was listening to that podcast,
Yes.
and Ted Danson and Woody Harrelson were on, and then he had Kristen Bell on, and they were talking about The Good Place. I'm like, I really liked that show in the first couple episodes I saw, and so now I'm hooked. I'm hooked.
Okay. Well, that's great. Enjoy the ride. That's all I'm going to say. Enjoy the ride. What the fork is going on? See? You
Real
can't
quick.
curse
Real
in The
quick.
Good Place.
Real
Right.
quick, a little off script. Adina, can I introduce you to Takako?
Because Takako says she's pretty sure she saw you and your crew at Trek Long
Yeah.
Yep,
Island
we
a couple
were.
weeks ago.
We were absolutely there. Yeah.
Takako's a friend of mine. I would love to introduce you to because she is a big Trek fan, and I think you guys would have a really good conversation.
Awesome.
Well, she was at
Awesome.
Trek Long Island, so
And we'll be back at Trek Long Island again next year. If you saw my co-host and you didn't see me, I'm the science programmer at Trek Long Island. So I might have been, I was doing 1,000 things, but me and this Big Sci-Fi podcast will be back at Trek Long Island 3, which you can buy tickets. Everyone can buy tickets to, but I'll also be at Shore Leave at the end of July too, doing science-y stuff there. But yeah, absolutely. Love to meet.
yeah, please do. Takako, why don't you come to Shore Leave with us? I'm going to be there. Adina and I are going to be there. I'm going to be volunteering, running around with a chicken, like a chicken with its head cut off and doing a million things that I shouldn't be doing. So Takako's giving you heart emojis. Good stuff. So yeah, come and see us at Shore Leave, July 26th through the 28th in our new venue, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, no doubt. July 26th through the 28th.
Year.
It is. Yeah, it's our new venue.
Yeah.
It's brand new. So get ready. It's going to be a good time. Adina's going to be there. She's got a bunch of panels. She's going to be running, and I'm going to be just running around like a chicken with its head cut off. So, but Adina may see me there, and then we'll just hang out and just shoot the breeze. She says, I've already bought my tickets and booked a room for Trek Long Island 2025, Takako says. So.
Excellent. Yeah, my room is booked too. My room is also known as my mother's house. My mom lives 10 minutes away from Trek Long Island. So that is permanently booked in perpetuity.
That's a big word right there. That's a big SAT word right there. That's huge.
That's how I roll. Sorry. Not sorry.
No, sorry, not sorry. Don't be sorry. You're one of the you're awesome. We love you for that. Listen, those are our hopes and dreams for the Star Wars The Acolyte. We got 2 episodes left in this bad boy. Let's see where the story goes. See if they answer any questions. If there's going to be a season 2, get a new set of writers for me. For now, that may change in the last 2 episodes. I'm just saying. But anyway, those are our thoughts. Those are our feelings. Those are our opinions. By the way, these are not facts. These are just opinions. So. See, Case? I'm just prefacing this. It's all opinion. It's not fact. So we're all friends here, right? We can all live on the Enterprise or the Millennium Falcon together. It's great. Listen, this has been a lot of fun. We hope the person who's watching or listening to this episode of the Nerdy Cantina talking all things Star Wars, or sometimes we mention something called Star Trek. I don't know what that means. Has enjoyed this. This has been fun. Exactly. Yeah. Case knows what I'm talking about. Live long and prosper, because Adina uses that emoji all the time on her social media.
There is a shirt out there with the hand gesture that has in a circle, may the force be with you. It is out there.
Really? Is that true?
Oh,
I have seen it. Oh yeah.
Can you
One of
do
my
me a
best
favor?
friends owns it and wears it with pride.
Can you send me
We're
the link to
allowed
that?
to love both.
Yeah, you are allowed to love both.
We're allowed to love both.
Yeah, no, there is a shirt out there.
Can you send me the link? Can you do me a favor?
I'll try to find it.
Find the link and then DM it to me so I can DM it to Dion and everyone else, so we know what we're doing. But this has been a lot of fun, guys. It's been a great discussion. I hope everyone who is tuned in, whether you're watching us live on the replay, have enjoyed this. So we're going to be back next week, same time, same place, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you write that down in your notes and your calendar. We'll be back next week. We hope everyone's had a great holiday weekend thus far. For those of you who do celebrate 4th of July, hope you're enjoying it and being safe amidst the incredible amount of heat in the northeast of the United States. Good Lord, is it HO, triple, double T hot. But anyway, just be safe, wear sunscreen, and drink lots of cold water. That's what we always say. But Jen, if someone wants to know more about you and your insider baseball knowledge of Star Wars, because Lord knows Dion and I don't know what the heck you're saying half the time, but we love you anyway.
Just catch up, man. Do the research.
I can't do it. It's too much research. I need to sit down and read. So what I need to do, what I really need to do,
one particular avenue.
I can't do it because I need to sit down and read this great book called Lunar Logic by Adina Mignona. That's what I need to do, is sit down and read that book. But anyway, I digress. So if someone wants to know more about you, your feelings, your Jedi mind tricks, and the kind of cookies and milk and blue milk and non-blue milk that you like, or your podcast, for example, where can they find you specifically, Jen?
Oh man, you can find me at my personal handle on Instagram at Jen Erminia Gadaski. I am on there. I have a podcast called Rocking Your Bald. The handle is right here, rocking_your_bald. I'm probably going to change that because saying that is really long. I am also on an app called Clubhouse with my friend Takago. We do our own Star Wars room with heavy spoiler discussions on the current show Acolyte. That'll be tonight at 8:30 in the Star Wars Universe Club. It is the largest club with 14K members, and we are so proud of it. And yeah, I'm now on Twitch trying to learn that. So stay tuned.
Fabulous stuff. Thank you so much for being here. Do greatly appreciate it. Snips, it's been so long since you've been here, but we're so happy that you finally came back to where you belong and you're on the side of the dark side, which is with me, in my opinions. Somewhat. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm not pick and choose your jersey and number next week. But if someone wants to know more about you and the incredible artwork that you've been putting together these last several weeks, where can they follow you on social media, Snips?
So you can follow me at SnipsandCo_. I have a Comic-Con next week in Secaucus, New Jersey, Contropolis. So if you're there, come out. I'll be at booth 416. I also have my book account, Amal Reads, which actually I just posted it today, but I'm giving away some Acolyte posters from the movie premiere for the first 2 episodes. So if you want that, go follow me over there and enter.
That is fabulous. That's a nice looking poster. It's too bad.
It is quite nice.
It's too bad all those characters are dead. But it's a great poster nonetheless. Red shirts. Anyway, we love you, Snips, and thank you so much for being with us. Dion, the man who takes 1 billion notes with 2 different pens and who's a big fan of certain properties other than Star Wars. Where can they follow you on social media, my good man?
Yeah, man, over on TikTok and Instagram at All Star Fandom Show. We just talk about all things fandom, pretty much celebrating those fandoms. We keep the toxicity at a low, and we just celebrate the things that we like, things we grew up loving and then became adults and continue to love too. Now we have the money to buy those things. So we just talk about that sort of stuff there. And over on YouTube too, got a few videos up there. Just did the the Beverly Hills Cop Axel F review with a friend. That was fun. And then working with a few more fandoms down the road for a few more episodes this month. So it's going to be a fun time, and come over there. Let's talk about your fandoms. So Brian, again, thanks for having me.
No, we thank you for being with us, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully me, you, and a few other streamers are going to be invading Dragon Con 2025 and having
get the Joker jackets ready.
Yeah, man. And then we're just going to walk in there and say, gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence, appreciate you being here, man. We love you.
Thanks, man.
Adina, our good friend Adina, it's been a whole minute since you've been here. It's been so long, my dear. But you're a great person inside and out, and you got a lot of books out now. So just out of curiosity, if someone wants to know more about you and your fandoms and things that you enjoy most, and maybe even to purchase some of your books, where can they find you?
Okay, the best thing to start with is my website right here. Right there, somewhere. adinam.com, and you'll find my books and everything from there. Lunar Logic, you mentioned reading it recently. Well, now people can listen to the audiobook version narrated by Bruce Horak, who played Hemmer in Strange New Worlds. He was the chief engineer of the first season of Strange New Worlds, and it's a great listen. Check him out reading the book. But you can also hear me at my podcast, the Big Sci-Fi Podcast. Me and my co-hosts, we talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, and every other science fiction because it is really a big sci-fi universe out there. And hopefully I'll see some people at Shore Leave. Come see me talk about real-world science. And then, yes, Trek Long Island 2025.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much for being with us. You greatly appreciate it. Adina, congratulations on everything that you're doing. And I will see you in a few weeks up there at the grandiose show of the summer known as Shore Leave.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of Star Trek guests and Star Wars people are going to be in the building. So quite exciting. Anyway, Case, my man, the man who put together the killer, and I do mean killer, intro for this series, as well as many other things. If someone wants to know more about you and the great things that you're up to on your channel, where can they find it?
Well, you can find me over here, the Dutch Star Wars guy on YouTube, where I make an honest attempt at making a positive, non-toxic channel for Star Wars fans, despite the comments. Anyway, I'm also working on a video about the history of toxic fandom on Star Wars because it has a long history, and I want to make a long essay that is going to come out after the Acolyte releases because I just need time to really put that together. Look out for that. I think it's going to be a really good video. But yeah, in the meantime, if you just want to stay updated with Star Wars, the latest of Star Wars, and more insight from me, because I think I know a lot about it, then subscribe to my channel where I talk about it all the time. You can also follow me on social media at DutchSW on Twitter, and Case247 on Letterboxd, where I log all movies, not just Star Wars, because I also talk about movies, which I also do sometimes on this channel, for which I make thumbnails and intros and stuff like that. So, you know, over here on And I Quote, I'm also sometimes around, depending on my availability.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much for being here with us, Case, and thank you for our new intros and everything. You've done a great job, and we appreciate you, man. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Follow us, I should say, excuse me, across all forms of social media, simply at And I Quote Channel. We got great shows coming your way. And I Quote drops on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST live. Movie watch-alongs are normally on Saturdays, 7 p.m. Eastern time, or in this case, for this weekend, we're going to be on Sunday, July 7th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be celebrating the 35th anniversary of Timothy Dalton's second and final entry into the James Bond series known as License to Kill. And Case and I are going to be discussing that movie heavily because apparently Case is a huge fan of Timothy Dalton's iteration of James Bond, and License to Kill is one of his favorite Bond films. And heck, why not? Timothy Dalton was a great man, he's a great man, he's a great actor, and I think he was an underrated version of James Bond. So I think that should be celebrated and talked about. Who knows? Maybe Adina has seen both those movies. I don't know. But it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified of when our videos go up or they go live. Help us reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And remember, the Force will be with you always.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello tonight.
Just me.
Have you been with us before?
First time.
Oh, you picked a great night.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
Get all worked up, silly. It's a party.